Hi and welcome to Ambrosia. My name is Bhavya Desai and today is all about the Gianchand Whisky. Now this whiskey is brought to you by Devan's Modern Breweries, which is based all the way in Jammu, and it was established in 1961. But they have a lot of experience in this industry because they've been selling matured malts to the industry since 1967. So that's almost over 5 decades of experience, which obviously means they know exactly what they're doing. Now, this whiskey, like a lot of the other Indian whiskies in the market or in international market, have been winning a lot of accolades, which is the reason why it's become really popular. So this is actually the first and exclusive review of Gianchand Whisky, and in this video, I will taste the whiskey and tell you how it is. So let's get started. So the price of this whiskey is rupees 4,490 in Delhi, and apart from Delhi, it is also available, of course, in Jammu, Uttarakhand and Leh. Now this will be soon launched in Gurgaon as well, and the plans are to launch it in 10 states very soon. Now, as mentioned earlier, this is brought to you by Devan's Modern Breweries. Now, this company already has a few products which are really popular in the market, and you might have surely heard these names. And one of the most famous products is the Godfather beer. Now, that is a very popular beer which a lot of you might know. Now, I know what you're thinking next. You're thinking, what is this name? Why is this whiskey being named as Gianchand? So the reason why this name is Gianchand is because this is a dedication to the late founder of Devan Modern Breweries, which is Devan Gianchand. Now, he was actually a former journalist who started a bottling plant in 1961, which later turned into a distillery. So there are two other things that I find really unique about this whiskey. And the first of that is that Gianchand Whisky is made at their flagship distillery, which is located in Bhori. Now that is a place which is situated close to the Tavi River, which is about 900 feet in the laps of the Himalayas. Now the reason why this information is important is because water plays an essential role in making your blend. Then it adds its own unique flavor and it adds its own unique taste, which will make this blend really interesting. Now the second fact is, an interesting fact is, that this blend is made by the legendary Mr. N.J. Menon. Now he has been awarded the Lifetime Achievement Awards at the Ambrosia Awards, and someone who's a very notable blender in this industry. In fact, some of the most loved brands and some of the most highest selling brands that you might have tasted are the blends that have been created by him. Like for example, Bagpiper, McDowell's No. 1, Romanov Vodka, Blue Ribbon Vodka. These are just some of the names that actually come to mind when you speak about Mr. N.J. Menon. So before we move on to the tasting, let's first just talk about the packaging. And if I talk about the packaging, then this is very reminiscent of what you actually see most of the single malts in. It comes in a canister. The color is also, of course, beigeish, which is very common, what is being used usually for a lot of whiskies and single malts, especially in the premium category. Love the font. It is really nice and bold. Gives a lot of information as well. Very interesting things that I actually found about the packaging is that it mentions a legacy which is conserved by the third generation, which means 3 generations of the members of the family have been doing this. So that is very interesting to see. And another thing is that it is a product of India. So that's something which is very interesting to me. Of course, it is a 42.8% ABV value, which is very common. That's a standard value that you usually get for whiskeys, and it's a 750 ml bottle. Now, when I talk about the bottle, then there are a few things which come to mind when I see it. For example, this seems very bold, yet it is classy and delicate as well. For some reason, I don't know, when I see it, I feel that I'm actually looking at a bottle or a packaging which is very similar to sort of Japanese sort of whiskeys, you know, the kind of shape that you see. So before I start talking about the whiskey and nosing and tasting it, let me just open it up and let it sit for a bit so that I can give you some more information in the meanwhile. Let's listen to that pop. Nice slow pop. So Gianchand actually is a whiskey wherein they've paid special attention to how it's being made. For example, it is being made by using ex-bourbon barrels, which is very common when you're making single malts or whiskies, but there has been particular specific importance that has been given to the aging of the spirit. Now, the company claims that this can actually be compared to Glenfiddich 18YO. Now, that's a tall claim. The reason is because, I mean, as you know, Glenfiddich is a very known single malt, and also the 18YO is again like a special series. So, we don't really know how that is, but that I can only tell you once I start tasting it. The color, of course, is really nice. It's brilliant and gold. Let me just give it a nice swirl. Also, there is a peated version of this whiskey which is going to come very soon, which is probably approximately in about 6 to 7 months. So do keep an eye out of that. And for people who don't know what the meaning of peated is, this means that it's slightly more smoky than what the usual non-peated version is. So the first thing that you really get out of the aroma is that it is not something which is very strong, very punchy. It doesn't really hit you really hard, which means that it is going to be something which is going to be a very smooth and a balanced spirit. I can definitely tell by the aroma. I'm definitely getting a little bit of fruit, maybe like a little bit of peachy, pruny. Sort of aroma, maybe apricot. There is definitely sweetness. You can surely get that, which is very reminiscent of a lot of Indian single malts. Spiciness as well. Yeah, for sure, spiciness. It kind of comes in a little later, gives you a little bit of tingling as well when you're nosing it. Now let me just go ahead and taste the spirit and see what it's like. Okay, interesting. You know, the moment the spirit actually touches your palate, you can surely get those sweety notes. You can surely get some sort of a honey, some sort of a sweety note, and immediately the spice also really comes through. You can feel as you are actually just flavoring or sampling the spirit, you can actually feel the spiciness. It's going. This is really reminiscent of a lot of the Indian single malts. You know, they have that fruity punch. They have that. Zing because of the spiciness. I am getting a little bit of salt as well. I don't know, maybe a hint of salt, but it does seem a little salty. Probably at the end. I really love the finish. The finish is still going on in my throat. I can surely get that it's a long finish, but a really balanced and a smooth one. And as I told you when I was nosing it, that it is something which is seeming really balanced, not something which will hit you. It is actually like that, and the flavor. The finish is still kind of lingering. I can still feel that a little bit more. There is a little bit of dryness as well. I'm probably a gingerbready or something of that sort, but I don't know. But you, I mean, I just love the way it's tasting, to be very honest. So what do I think about Gianchand Whisky? So honestly, like a lot of the Indian single malts that have been doing really well in the international market, I surely feel that this is one another whiskey which really holds the Indian flag in the international market really high. Now this, according to me, is one of the most important times for the Indian whiskies, because there's some sort of an Indian whiskey revolution that's going on, and this is one more star which really gets added to that lineup. This whiskey is sweet, it's delicate, but yet has a nice punch which is balanced, gives you really good explosion of flavors. Which has really surprised me, because I was obviously expecting it to be like a little strongish, for it to hit you hard, because a lot of the Indian whiskies are usually like that. But it has surprised me, it has pleasantly surprised me, I would say. And this is a whiskey which I feel, if you can get your hands on it, is something that you should surely try. So let me know in the comments what you think about our review. Of course, if there's any other product that you'd like us to review, or if you've tasted this as well. And until next time, very important is, but before doing that, do follow us on Instagram as well. Do check out our magazine and of course Ambrosia India website as well. And very important lastly is that drink responsibly.